Hey, this is Dennis Kelly, 11-year NFL vet, and this is Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
Hey, this is Jimmy Street, host of the Live and in Color with Wolfie D podcast. Hear the life and times of professional wrestler Wolfie D. From his time in the territories with PG-13 to his time in WWE, ECW, WCW, TNA, and more. Nothing is off limits and nothing will be held back. Thanks again for tuning in. Here he is, Wolfie D.
Hey guys. You know what you're listening to. It's Live and in Color with Wolfie D. Probably don't even have to say that because you clicked on it. It said Live and in Color with Wolfie D. And it also said that today we got a very special guest. And man, it's so cool because we can talk NFL, and we're going to be able to talk Titans, and we're going to be able to talk wrestling. And everybody in the three of us here knows a little something about each one of those things. So it's going to be real hard to pack all this into one show.
I know this is your dream episode, right? Is it not? I mean,
cool as hell, man.
A pro football player that loves wrestling and was a Titan. Come on.
I know. This is going to be great. We're not going to bullshit around because, like I said, to squeeze all this in, we're going to need all the time we can get. So I want to get right to it. But first, Jimmy, I'm a little bit pissed off. And I'm just going to say it, man. It don't make sense to me, man. I want everybody that's listening right now, whatever you're listening to me on, please turn it up just a little bit and go to a quiet space because I want to know why there are thousands of you out there listening to me and Jimmy.
Yeah. And
we don't understand how that many thousands of people cannot, and maybe it's because you're not on Facebook with us or on Twitter or whatever. We'd like for you to be on all our platforms, but the one that I really need you to go to is our YouTube channel, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button and share it wherever you do your sharing. Okay?
Yes.
Please do that for us. We throw Wolf and his boy a bone and help us out there. Folks, let me tell you, there was yesterday 353 subscribers on YouTube, and that's fucking bullshit, by the way. That's not even right, man. That hurts my feelings, and I don't like it. When there's thousands of you listening to this show. So at least you guys, I'm not blaming you. Maybe you don't see my post or you don't listen on YouTube, but at least do me that favor and go to the YouTube channel and click subscribe. And I think my rant is over. I love each and every one of you that do listen, but I just had to throw that out there that me and Jimmy need a little help here on YouTube. It's all about numbers doing this shit. And we would appreciate you very much. And you help us figure out where the disconnect is between you audio listeners and YouTube listeners. So anyway, we're going to get right to this, Jimmy. I'm not even going to give you a chance to say anything about what I just said because I know you agree with me.
Absolutely.
And Jimmy's working to get more content on that YouTube page as we speak. Well, maybe not as we speak, but as soon as we hang up, I'm going to crack that whip and get his ass. All right. So when we come back, again, very cool NFL player, Tennessee Titan, free agent right now, but we'll be back with Dennis Kelly.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
Hey folks, to get your official Live and in Color with Wolfie D merchandise, go to prowrestlingtees.com/live Wolfie D. Check it out.
If you're listening to Live and in Color with Wolfie D on Apple Podcast and like what you're hearing, go ahead and leave a 5-star rating. And while you're at it, write a review. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you'd like to hear in the future. It's very important to us and always appreciated. Thanks again.
All right, guys, we're back. And man, y'all know I am so excited about this to have my next guest on. He's a wrestling fan, but most importantly, he's a former Tennessee Titan. And that's the reason he's on my show. Not because he's a wrestling fan, but I like this dude a lot. I met him at the Squared Circle Expo in 2022. Everybody, this is Dennis Kelly.
Wolfie, how you doing, bud? Thanks for having me.
Doing great, man. I'm doing great. This should be so fun, man. I was telling Jimmy, I said, man, how are we going to squeeze 30 minutes of football and 30 minutes of wrestling into one show, man? I said, how are we going to do that? That's like trying to shove 10 pounds of primo quality Smiz in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah.
I guarantee you I can stuff it into a 5-pound bag. But anyway, that's what we are going to do today. We're going to squeeze a bunch of quality stuff in this hour. First and foremost, Dennis, thank you, man. Like I said, when I met you up there, really liked you, and plus you're good friends with Kevin Thorne, and I love him to death. So you got to be a good dude. But thanks for coming on. Let's start.
Of course, this should be fun. You've blocked and you've protected some pretty cool people. Some of them, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Hall of Famer, no doubt. I think you've blocked for Derrick Henry. I mean, talk about some of the quarterbacks, Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill. I don't know who the quarterbacks on those other teams are, but anyway, man, talk about that, man. How cool is to say I blocked for Derrick Henry or I've protected Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, no, it's really, really cool. And, as I get later into my career, obviously, on the back nine portion of it, it's really cool to be able to look back and to think of the different, like you said, the quarterbacks of some of these running backs, some of these, superstar-like players that I got to play with and block for. Yeah. When I got drafted into Philly in 2012, Michael Vick was the quarterback. And coming in as as a rookie and as a kid during when he was the Madden in his prime when he was in Atlanta before all the stuff happened. Yeah, that was one of those kind of like those starstruck a little bit because you're like, oh my god, like I'm actually a teammate with this guy now. Yeah. And in the same vein, that Philly team had some amazing stars. There was LaShawn McCoy Shady, there was Deshaun Jackson. Jeremy Maclin was there. You had Jason Peters. And then, like you said, going into Tennessee, to Green Bay with Derek, with Tannehill, with Delaney Walker, some of the defensive line guys, with Rack and Derek Morgan, Jarrell Casey. Like it's really, really cool to say you got to experience this with these, extremely, extremely talented players. Yeah. And here, let me ask you this too. Like, we all know what they do on the field. And I'm just curious, and I'm not asking you to trash talk anybody. I mean, but like, you never hear of Derrick Henry pretty much doing anything outside of football. And like, you can tell he's a good dude. I mean, I really believe that. And I've never met him, but I believe that he is. Talk about like Derrick Henry, Aaron Rodgers, and some of those ones we mentioned, Mariota and Michael Vick. Man, what the heck? How would you, when he gets to scrambling, what do you do, man? How do you keep up with that dude and try to help him? Oh, yeah, with Vic, it's kind of similar to Marcus, too, because, he had the ability to just kind of tuck it and go. Yeah. When you're blocking, it's the defensive line and the defense in whole, they understand that you have to be more disciplined in your rush lanes and in their plan, because if they kind of go rogue and try to do their own thing, they can slip out the corner or slip through, the B gap, and they're gone. And so it kind of helps. On the front end, it helps because it's almost like they have a controlled rush more because they're so afraid of rushing too deep or going inside when they shouldn't. Yeah. Obviously, when they start scrambling, you got to block longer, so that part kind of sucks. But, but they do a good job of kind of making you look good in that regard. But yeah, no, it's again, I've been very fortunate to play with some really, really great players, but really, really great people. Going back to my rookie year with Vic, I was a rookie, I was a 5th round guy, and,
he sat down and ate lunch with everyone, and he talked to everyone. And, there wasn't like, this is my table, you guys don't talk to me or anything like that. I remember my mom always talks about a story about LaShawn McCoy. It would have been my third year or so. And I had a, spot started at a guard spot on a Monday night game against the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up winning in Indy, and it was a fun game. And Shady came up to my mom out of nowhere, like without, I think she was wearing my jersey or something. And he like said, appreciate your son. Like he works hard. He like was very complimentary of me.
Yeah,
I had no reason to do that.
Right.
And like, obviously that as a mom hearing that coming from a player like that, that's obviously, she kind of, swells up a little bit when she gets to talk about that, because that's a really, really cool moment.
Yeah.
And to your, with Derek, you're right. Just an awesome guy. Honestly, you see all of his workout videos and how hard he trains.
Yeah.
And you can tell that football is important to him, and that, he has his priorities straight, but like as a person, awesome dude. The only time I see him get upset is when anybody tries to trash talk Alabama. And then, and then that fire comes out. So,
I'm going to interrupt you for a second, because I swear to God, man, I've never done this except for the wrestlers that like were my heroes. You know what I'm saying? The Road Warriors, Mr. Perfect, Randy Savage. But man, if you can hook me up to meet Derrick Henry, I love you to death. And I'll say it right here on the air in front of everybody. Yeah. Wolfie D is a Derrick Henry mark.
No, I get it, man. Like he's a special player, and he's kind of defying what people keep trying to say about running backs, about short shelf life, and he just continues to prove them wrong. So it's really cool to watch him continue to do his thing the way he does.
Yeah. Here's another thing I was wanting to talk about, man, because I like on the XFL and stuff, you can kind of hear a little bit more of what they're saying on the field because everybody's mic'd up and stuff. It seems like everybody. Like in the NFL, man, I know there's got to be like sometimes you'd be like, I wonder what that dude did. Was it something he said that got him the personal foul or something like that? So is there off-limit words and shit like that will get the penalty, or is there just a whole bunch of trash talking going on? But do they keep it? I mean, I know I've heard some dudes will like make it personal and shit like that, but like really what goes on and what kind of shit's being said? I know there's joking back and forth sometimes, but then there's people that get pissed off too. So what kind of trash talking is off limits, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, you're both right. There are some words that they implemented. It had to be like 8-9 years ago now. Kind of the derogatory words, racial words, anything like that. Right. That will get a flag. Really? But then realistically, anything else is fair game. You have everything in between from, super aggressive guys, calling people out, questioning manhood, things like that. But then you have people, trying to disarm guys by kind of joking around with them and, trash talking in a sense of like, not kind of funny, but kind of like off brand to kind of catch people off guard. But did he just say that? Like, what are we doing right now? Like, what's going on? And so, I've seen all sorts of like everything in between, like I said, from guys trying to, talking to where they're going to rip each other's heads off to where the guy looks back kind of like questioning, like, what am I getting myself into here? Like, what's happening now?
Yeah. I remember the first time that I watched that NFL lip sync thing.
Oh, my gosh, right.
Dude, I was in the floor laughing. My stomach hurt so bad, especially like the first one or two, man. That shit is hilarious.
Yeah.
Jimmy, go ahead. And I was wondering, I was about to ask you, are you just going to sit there? Or are you going to join this conversation?
I'm just kind of giving you a chance to mark out with an NFL player on the Wolfie D show. There's nothing wrong with that. So I was just, that was a great question, Wolfie. I was going to give you some kudos on that. Is there something that you could tell us that just like where you're so focused in the game, but then a guy said something that literally just made you almost lose it, cracking up? Is there something you can share without, going too like X-rated or anything,
Right. Yeah.
Don't.
No. Taylor Lewan was always pretty good at he was kind of an off-brand trash talker where he would try and he would talk to anybody that would listen to. I remember he looked up one guy and was like, "Yeah, I looked you up. I know you collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards." And you could tell the guy was like, "What? Where is this coming from? Like, why?" And there was one time I think they must have been reviewing a touchdown or something because we're all lined up in field goal, and Taylor was on the outside to make sure he gets protected, and so he literally would just as they're reviewing the touchdown, he walked down the line and was trying to get attention of anybody. I think we're playing the Jags, and literally went talk to all 11 guys of trying to say something just to get. And as soon as he got someone to it was like he was fishing. And as soon as someone bit, he was like, "Okay, I'm on to you." Right. And it was just that the rest of the game. It was fun to watch how he worked because it's just for how talented he is and how great of a football player he is, for him to also be so witty and so clever and so quick with it was also very impressive to be a part of.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. So really, I got to ask, because I've always wondered this, and when I talk to a pro player, I always wonder, growing up, obviously we all have our favorite teams and stuff like that. Who was your favorite football team growing up? I got to guess, but you go ahead and confirm it.
So it's kind of interesting. So grew up in Chicago. Family was a big Bears fan. But when I started getting into football, it was the year the Titans went to the Super Bowl in Javon Curse's rookie year.
Oh yeah, love it.
For whatever reason, it attracted me to them. I was a huge fan of the Florida University growing up, University of Florida, excuse me. So I was all in on tight end stuff. And so maybe part of it was because when I played football in grade school, we always kicked off at noon on Sunday. So we never really got to watch the Bears play, and they weren't very good during that time frame either.
Right.
So it kind of it just kind of was a perfect storm. And it just kind of, so I followed the Titans for the longest time until maybe about college. And then obviously going into the pros, you kind of lose your fandom a little.
Right.
You can't really control where you get drafted to.
Yeah, yeah.
What were you going to guess?
That was my guess, was the Bears. Yeah, that was my guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what's funny is I lived in Nashville most of my life, born and raised there. But I was a Titans fan. It's funny you said you became a fan just as soon as the Titans came to town or whatever. So that was the same. I really didn't. I wasn't all in on football when I was a kid. I loved baseball, basketball, and professional wrestling. Yep. Also like boxing because of Mike Tyson. I really didn't get into it until then. And now it's I just became a fan instantly. I don't know if it was because they went to the Super Bowl that first year or whatever, but man, I studied football so much since then. I wish. I mean, I only played 1 year Pop Warner, and that was decent, but I really didn't understand football, so I think that's why I didn't like it as much. But then I love it now, and I think you saw the video, man, when Fred Miller and Zach Pillar, and I think Wycheck was there too. So a couple of the other Titans that I've met, and we'll talk about that story in 1 second, but Chris Sanders was cool. I played softball with him. Wycheck, because he was friends with Jeff Jarrett, and so I was around him a few times. Lorenzo Neal worked out at the gym that I worked out at. Chris Carter, I met him at the mall one time. That was not hey, how you doing? And you've been cool. But those dudes, man, it was I don't know, honestly, if it was a straight up shoot or they just got overhyped or what. That's not what we were told was supposed to happen. And I was fuck, man, because you linemen are big motherfuckers, man. I'm joking. Every lineman I've ever seen that's like an NFL player, I'm like, damn. I've been around some big dudes all my life, But so they tell us, man, that okay, they're gonna push Jeff. He's gonna push him back. Blah blah blah. And then it was supposed to be me, Malice, and our guys come down and start fighting or whatever. So, but that's not what happened, man. That dude was never supposed to jump the rail that I'm aware of, unless Jeff didn't tell us to try to make it look like more of a shoot. But hell, Zach had that motherfucker cradled and was,
oh my gosh.
Fence and ran a post. And here they come, but their punches looked like they were trying to hold back. I don't think they were trying to hurt him. I think it was like two big giant Marmaduke puppies got too excited when they seen their owner and attacked him and just licked him and just knocked him on the ground and did what they wanted to do. They were so fucking happy.
Yeah, when he picks him up and, like you said, kind of just like ragdolls him a little bit.
Oh,
it's like, good Lord.
It's so bad. I'm the littlest one out there at this point. I'm thinking, when I see all that going on, I'm like, what the fuck? We're all going, what the fuck are they doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
We got to go. And thank God I had big ass. Malice was about as big as them. And then he was on my team. So I felt a little more confident walking down there because I didn't know.
Oh, my gosh.
Were they going to turn it on us too or what? So thank God it settled down and went the way it was supposed to at the end. But yeah, that was a crazy, crazy story. Did you know either one of those guys?
So I've met Zach a couple times because the Titans always have like an alumni weekend type of thing.
Yeah.
And we've talked maybe a combined 5-10 minutes type of thing, but I didn't realize that he had done that when I talked to him. And so I only realized it after the Titans released me. And so it was one of those things that was like, damn, it would have been awesome to be able to talk to him about it, just to kind of figure out like what was going through his head. Like you said, like did he just kind of get caught up in the emotion of it and just was like, I'm just going to let this flow, or what exactly happened? Because I could, like, with the Colts this year, I don't know how it came up, but we were talking. I was like, like something happened before. And I showed some of the guys the video and just somewhat, again, like you're explaining, just like the chaos that ensued because they jumped over the rail.
Yeah. And I see, man, I can't remember like afterwards in the back. I don't remember any kind of squabble back there or anything like that. I don't even remember seeing them. I guess they went back and sat in their seats. So I don't remember any kind of what the fuck just happened, type of shit like that. So that's why I say, I pretty much know a work and I know a shoot when I see him. And like I said, they got a little happy. I don't really think they're trying to hurt him, but then again, he was slinging his ass around. So
he really was.
Might have been trying to hurt him. I don't know, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. Maybe he was thinking it was a potential tryout to show what he can do.
Yeah,
that was it. Exactly what it was.
That could be it.
Have you thought about after football maybe trying wrestling?
Yeah, definitely a lot more when I was younger, right? Like if the NFL didn't pan out, it was like I'm too big and athletic not to use it still. Obviously getting older, it's a little, just getting into it. But I've always been interested in to get into a ring and kind of to feel it out, to kind of see what you guys go through. I'm sure like in the same way that I think you guys would, want to do like a practice or even just like a workout just to kind of get a feel of like, what it is that we go through.
Right.
Same, like that's, running the ropes, taking a bump, things like that. So that obviously that thought's always been in my mind. And I'm fortunate enough, I've been able to, meet some really great people. Like you mentioned, Kevin Thorne, David Hero. And so, every time I see Kevin or David, they're like, we're going to get you in a ring as soon as you're done. Like, guys, can I when I'm done, can I at least have like a month to breathe and just kind of to catch my breath a little bit? But no, that thought's obviously always been in my head. And if the situation fits, then who am I to say no?
Sure.
And see, I've trained a few guys that or tried the game out of good college football players, things like that. And honestly, I always say this, man, and I think if you tried it, you probably would be good at it since you were a fan of it, because some of these guys think, and they can, because they did this in this sport or this in this sport, oh, I could go do wrestling because I'm big. No,
right.
It's so much footwork and timing and placement and right place, right time type shit. It's hard, and then you're taxing your body the whole time. But it's a different kind of shape. Okay, there's ring shape. Like I could go. I ain't been in the ring in so long, but if I go to the gym and I do cardio every day, and I'm 60 minutes on the elliptical and battle ropes and blah blah blah. Okay, I could be feeling really good. But since I ain't been in the ring in a long time, I guarantee you I would get so gassed. A little bit because it's ring shape. If I tried to do a fucking NFL workout, even at the peak of my wrestling career, I'd have been. I've seen that shit.
You're not training for that. And then talk about like ring shape. You can train all year getting ready for training camp, and there's always those first couple days where it's like you can't simulate pushing against another 330-pound guy pushing against you. Like you can do as many sled pushes and sled pulls and, like you said, cardio. And it's like there is just a different element of when you are kind of doing the real thing. And it's actually a fun story about when you're talking about, if you came and did the NFL workout, it would kick your ass. Yeah. So I was in Tennessee, and it's like an hour south of Fort Campbell. And it was when Mike Malarkey was the head coach, and so he had a big. I think his son was in the military. I'm not sure which branch, but we kind of had a deal with Fort Campbell, and they sent a handful of guys down to our strength coach, and he just wrecked them with the workout. And like we had known that we were going up to Fort Campbell, and like 2 weeks after that, and he was like bragging about like, I kicked their ass, like they were struggling, and all the players were like, what the hell, man? Like, they're going to do the exact same thing to us now when we go up there. And sure as shit that we go up there and they have us do like essentially like an obstacle course, but what they train through. And they were explaining it like, you're going to mud crawl, you're going to climb over this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that. You're going to be about 2 miles down. That's the halfway point. And then you're going to come back, and you can tell guys were like, oh my God. Like, what? If you don't train for it, that's not what you like. Like you said, you can be in the best shape in your life, but if that's not what you're training for, it's going to kick your ass because you're just not used to it.
Yeah. Exactly right.
I don't know. I like the idea of Dennis Kelly, pro wrestler, trained by Wolfie D. I mean, dude, you think all your career from high school on, you've worked on footwork. I think you can make this happen. Plus, you're 6'8", 321. I don't know if you're still in that weight range, but at the same time, 6'8" is like Hulk Hogan, dude. 6'8" is like Scott Hall. So I'm saying it's the perfect height. That's like tall enough to be a big guy, but also not too tall to where you're not like, kind of clumsy almost in the ring. You know what I'm saying? I mean, 100%. Also, Mongo McMichael, I'm not knocking him, and definitely not since he's going through.
You're fixing to knock him.
No, but I'm just saying he was kind of like.
Not him. His wrestling ability.
Right. He kind of didn't really seem, I guess what I'm trying to say is he didn't seem to ever get the footwork down, but you new breed of cats are totally different. You know what I'm saying? That's my.
Yeah, no, and I get what you mean by that. I think a little bit of that is, as the sport evolves and as sports in general evolve, there's more, specific training and like you said, like the footwork, kind of the newer generation, tends to have, like works on the footwork, works on the coordination, works on kind of overall performance and not necessarily maybe one thing or another. Right. So, I totally understand what you're saying for sure.
Yeah. So I got another question real quick. So we've got a listener and friend of the show. He's named the Plastic Sheik for @GMBMPW on all the social medias. And he always asks this question. So I'm going to take it a little bit into wrestling here. What is the Dennis Kelly Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, okay. So got to put Undertaker up there because he's always been my favorite.
Okay. I like that.
I was kind of to your point, big, tall guy, but, was still athletic, was still able to kind of do some of these things that kind of, I think broadened his, obviously amazing career and kind of really helped him be special. I'm trying to think. So I really enjoy Chris Jericho. I think he's done a great job of continuously evolving and not in almost in the opposite fashion. Right. The Undertaker, he continues to change who he is and still somehow, not like in a mysterious way, it's because he's uber talented, but like is able to make whatever he is at that time the best thing there is. Yeah. And I think it's really, really shown these last 5 years or so since he left the WWE again. The next two. I'm trying. It's hard not to put Austin in there again. Just what he did. I can vividly remember. I think it was the SmackDown before the Invasion pay-per-view. Yeah, and all of the Alliance is taken over the ring, and like Austin had been missing. Had kind of been going through where he was kind of, I think he had just turned heel and was kind of going with the kind of the off-brand Austin, and then like the glass shatters and he comes in and just clears house, and just how electric the arena was. Right. It was just one of those things where just a perfect storm of the character, the music, the moment, and during his run. And then let's go with him. Again, I think I'll guess I'll go the easy way, and I'll say Hogan again. What he did, what he did for the sport, and for him to be so polarizing both ways with his two characters like that, I think tells a lot about what he was able to do, character-wise, timing-wise, of during the time of wrestling. And when he pivoted and became Hollywood Hogan, and just how despised he was, and how he played such a, like, even though he was a giant of a man, was still able to kind of play that weasel. Right. Right. And exactly. Like when he'd be on his knees and he'd be shaking his head, you can see the skull just flopping back and forth from all the sweat. It was like, I know it's kind of an easy pick, but I think it's an easy pick for a reason.
It's exactly right.
That was a very good Mount Rushmore, and people don't realize, man. I've said this, man. Hulk Hogan couldn't really work, man. He only had a couple moves. That's because at that point in his career, that's all he needed. But if you go back and you watch old Hulk Hogan Japan matches and shit, Hulk Hogan could fucking work, man. Yeah, and that's why also when he did switch heel, and like you just said, he wasn't afraid to beg off and get on his knees and no, that type of shit because he could work. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. A lot of big guys now, and shortly, even then, a lot of big guys didn't want to, I'm too big, I'm too tough. They want to play tough guy all the time. That doesn't get a whole lot of heat, in my opinion. That's why Hogan was able to get heat, because he was the big guy that was playing a pussy.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No, you're right.
And when he needed to, I'm not saying he played a pussy all the time, but when he needed to, he knew when to do it. That's called working. Let's take a quick time out and get a word from one of my dope-ass sponsors, and we'll be right back with more Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
Getting engaged is a moment worth cherishing. A one-of-a-kind ring that you design at Blue Nile can help your love sparkle. Just choose your diamond and setting. When you've found the one, you'll get it delivered right to your door. Finding the right engagement ring can be nerve-wracking. At Blue Nile, you'll have the expert guidance needed and a diamond guarantee that ensures you're getting the highest quality at the best price. Cherish all of life's moments and save up to 30% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Support for Live and in Color with Wolfie D is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code WOLFIE at manscaped.com. If my math's correct, that's about 8 million balls.
Hey folks, this is Wolfie D here, and if you are looking to buy or sell a home in Tennessee or Southern Kentucky, you're going to want to call my buddy, the rock star realtor, Benji Bowie. And you say, Wolfie, how do I get in touch with this rock star? Well, you can call him directly at 615-390-8216. You can go to his website, bowiehomes.com. That's B-U-I-E homes.com. Or you can email him at benbowie34@gmail.com. When you need a home, you need the Rockstar Realtor.
Benji is a member of Exit Realty's Garden Gate team in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
At what age and what year would that have been when you picked up on wrestling?
So for whatever reason, I was born in 90. And so like, for me, like it feels like the entire Monday Night Wars in my mind was like only in 98. When it very clearly wasn't just
sure.
then.
Yeah.
Sure. But my mom always said that like it was never Saturday morning cartoons. It was always Saturday morning wrestling. So
was that just or the whole family?
That was pretty much the whole family. You know,
awesome. Love that.
I don't remember why it happened or how it happened, but it was just one of those things where we watched it and we got, caught on, and then like obviously with the Monday Night Wars happening, I remember, flipping back and forth and watching Nitro before Raw started, and then having to, have our dedicated VHS to record after we had to go to bed and watch. And it was awesome then because obviously there wasn't social media or anything like that for spoilers. So we were able to go through school and not worry about hearing about what happened because it always felt like that.
Yes.
It always felt like that last hour or so of the show, like scenes were amazing. Like, again, like there was just so many different fun things for a wrestling fan. Yeah. It's nice to be able, and I remember growing up watching, we had like home videos of like some of the older WrestleManias, and so like was still understood, who the $1 Million Man was, and Rick Rude, and the model Rick Martel, like all, like it was just so fun to be a kid and be able to watch all of that.
The talent during those shows, man, for sure.
So, I mean, if we're going to keep going wrestling, so I guess, with that being said, you grew up a wrestling fan and stuff like that. Have you gotten to meet let's just say this, other than Wolfie D, who has been some of your...
At the conventions with Kevin all the time, so he's met everybody.
No, but I mean, who has been some of the really like, wow, like
the coolest,
got your tongue kind of wrestling?
Right, yeah, kind of starstruckish a little bit.
Sure, exactly.
So when we were in Philly, it was during when they had Mania up at MetLife the first time. So it was when The Rock was making his run, and he was working out at our weight room, and I was working out, so I was able to get, like, before he started, we were able to get a picture with him, which was an awesome thing to do. Yeah. Meeting that was really cool. Again, one of those guys, being a big kid all the time. I always kind of fanned out for the Giants. Yeah. Trying to think who. No, yeah, you're putting me on the spot. Meeting Jeff Hardy was cool. I was always a huge fan of Jeff. Yeah. Gosh, you really are putting me on the spot here.
Take your time. He can edit.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. then yeah, and Wolfie's right. Like being able to go to those conventions is really cool to be able to get to talk with some of the guys, and just meet some of the guys, even like kind of catch up a little bit here and there. I've befriended Wolfie. I don't know if you ever ran into Kevin Keenan, the referee. He was based out in Philly, but he took me to a show when I was out in Philly, up in New York, and was able to meet Samoa Joe, which was really cool because it was right. He had already debuted for NXT, but they were letting him finish out his commitment, so he was there, which was like that was kind of like a cool, weird time period for him because he had quote unquote made it, but was still doing the indie shows. But yeah, again, but being able to meet, the headbangers, obviously meeting Kevin, which is a wildly random story on how we ended up meeting and becoming friends.
Let's hear it.
So he lived in Indy. We bought a house in 2015 when my wife was pregnant with our first kid, and ended up living in a neighborhood in Indy. And a couple of years go by, we're meeting the neighbors. We're all friendly. We're all everything's great. And I had heard that Kevin Thorne was a realtor now and was a realtor in Indy. So I kind of just threw him a follow on Twitter to see, maybe, we can talk, meet up, whatever. He follows back. We chat a little bit on Twitter, just DMing a little bit. And then I'm talking to my neighbor who lives across the street, and he's like, "Hey, do you know Kevin Thorne?" I was like, "Yeah, kind of." He goes like, "His son is on my son's lacrosse team," and we were both kind of like bragging about how we know an NFL player, and it was like, "Wait, who's the person you know?" It's Dennis. Who's the person you know? He lives across the street from me, and so it was like, "Oh shit!" Like we actually are really close to each other, and so then we met through my neighbor, and then it's been true love ever since, essentially.
Man, he's killing it at that real estate, man, and he's a super dude.
You're not kidding.
Love Kevin. When I first met him, he just when he first got into business in the early '90s or whatever, he was doing a gimmick where he put. I used to call him Toothpaste Head. I didn't call him Kevin. I called him Toothpaste Head. And he was my partner sometimes because he would take toothpaste and make those really long punk rock spikes with his hair. Yeah. And he used toothpaste to do it. I was blown away by that. So I just always called him Toothpaste Head back then.
That's good to know. I'm going to have to call him that next time I see him.
I'll know where it came from.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, I got to just ask this because, I never get an NFL player on my show. No, I'm just kidding, Wolfie. Sorry. Anyway, okay, you're going through high school and obviously you're a talented football player. And then, of course, you go to Purdue, Boilermakers, what up? But when did I know your NFL hopes probably came early, but at what point was there actually like, hey, this may be real? Was it high school? Was it college? Or what do you think?
So like during high school, coaches would, cause I played tight end, in high school. And so coaches would come in, and I remember the Northwestern coach came in and was like, "How you doing?" Introduce himself. And he was like, I have a couple questions for you. One, do you know what the highest paid position is in the NFL? It's like the quarterback. He goes, "No, what's the second highest paid?" He goes, "Left tackle." And that's where we see you. And I was like, "Oh, that sounds awesome." And so like that was the first kind of stage, not that I would make the NFL, but that like, okay, maybe like football could be, hey, maybe this is the way I should go. Cause I was playing basketball too and getting recruited for basketball as well. And then I ended up playing as a true freshman. I, became a starter after that. And it would have been after my junior year when I got like the first agent call. Where that was like, okay, now there's something here. Like, cause there's always that thought of like, especially if you're playing in the Big Ten, if you're starting, so, maybe I can, but you don't necessarily know what everyone else is thinking. And when I had an agent cold call me, that was a part of like, okay, that seems like like I said, there's some traction here. Maybe I actually have a real chance for this.
That's awesome.
Let me ask you this. I was just thinking, so out of your whole NFL career, what, I guess I would say a defensive lineman that just absolutely had your number?
I would say the absolutely had my number would have been Michael Bennett when he was in Tampa still. So he was his contract. It was my rookie year. It was his contract year. And that dude, that was just like a one of those games where like, okay, like there's still some way for me to go. I thought he was very, very good. And then he ended up blowing up even more when he got out to Seattle. But I will also say Nick Bosa is very, very good.
Yeah.
And is very talented and is very diverse in what he's able to do as a pass rusher, which makes things very difficult. And so we played him when I was in Green Bay. And, you know, he got me a couple of times where there was like, shit, that wasn't great. But again, like he's one of those guys that is strong enough to bull rush, but also it's not that he's a burner, but he's so smooth with his hands and smooth with his movement. Right. He's like efficient with what he does. It's not that he can necessarily beat you all the way around the edge. It's just he knows how to do it the best way. And that's where you can tell, because there are some guys that are just, you know, track stars at the defensive end, outside linebacker position now. But if they don't have an idea of like how to get to the quarterback, then you just can just ride them high and you'll be good.
Yeah.
But no, he is overall, I think he's the best one I've played. I think, like I said, the Michael Bennett thing, I think was a combination of being a rookie, him being like going into his contract year, and obviously he's still a very good player. But yeah, if overall best would have to be Bosa.
Blocking for Derrick Henry and playing games with Derrick Henry. We've all seen the Josh Norman stiff arm as one of the most famous, and then there's plenty of other ones. The one where he turned, I think it was one of the Ravens or the Jaguars around and made him block for him to the next guy.
Yeah, that was the Ravens game. Yeah,
that was incredible. Who does that? But anyway, what play from him, or what just when he cracked somebody or a stiff arm? What's the biggest one where you went, Jesus? So unfortunately with that Josh Norman one, he ran off to the left and I was on the right. So like I didn't see it happen live. But I just heard the reaction and I was able to look up at the screen and I was like, holy hell. But what gets for like, so I think that one got blown up because of Josh Norman obviously being a great player. It happened again later in the year. We're playing the Lions. He threw this kid, and this kid had just got elevated because they changed the rules for practice squad elevations to the active because of COVID, and so that it could be fluid. So this was this kid's first NFL game, and I remember that one too. Yeah.
He threw him so hard into the ground.
Yes.
Like I felt so bad for the kid, but at the same time, I remember after the game, like at home, just like continuously watching the video, laughing because it was just, again, like this shouldn't happen. Like you're in the NFL, and he just was like, I thought he like dented the ground with how hard he threw him down, and like I wish that one, like I wish the Josh Norman one is really cool with it being a night game and him like really depleted him.
Yeah,
but like this Detroit one is so violent. It's like, oh my god, man. But the same thing. It was the same play that had with the Josh Norman. So again, I didn't get to see it live.
So
like I was like, Derek, can you one time do it on my side so I can see it?
I want to see it in here.
It was really fun to see some of the things. Like you said, when he turned I think it was Earl Thomas, he turned him around in the playoff game. It made him his lead blocker. Was really, really cool. Like, just like you said, like who does this? Like,
I mean, he's it's like Jim Brown type stuff, man. You know, just like a men among boys.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like, and I've told everyone that I played with, I was like, the hardest hits I've ever taken are from Derek running into my back.
Yeah.
Like, if it's like if it's like 4th and 1 type of thing, we're just trying to push for a yard.
Right.
He's coming, like, that's a train coming, like, with a full head of steam. Like, I get why it's so hard to tackle him, because
seriously,
he's so big and so strong, but he's deceptively so fast. Like, he doesn't look like he runs super hard, but he just outruns everyone. And it's like, I remember it must have been the first year after I was with Green Bay, and I was watching, and he broke one free, and I was like, oh yeah, he actually looks really fast on TV. Like, but like in person, it looks like, Derek, you can run. Oh no, you're gone. Okay, good job. Like,
who in your career has been your favorite coach to play for? And I'm just talking NFL, not anywhere else.
Yeah, sure. That's a really good question, because I've had some really great coaches. Andy Reid drafted me in Philly. Okay. And I really, really enjoyed him. Unfortunately, I only had him for 1 year. But I was was awesome. Really great. I think Vrabel is a fantastic coach. I think he does a great job of getting the team ready, regardless. Obviously the last couple of years they've had a ton of health issues. But he just gets his players to play a certain way what you're going to get every single time, and it's going to be a punch in the mouth, and they're going to stand there and be like, all right, let's go. And I think he understands, because he's played recently enough to where he understands there are certain things that are important that kind of suck for a player that you need to do, but then there are certain things that, as football evolves and as we know more and more about what's important, what's not important, he's not going to do something because it's been done that way for 45 years. He's like, not in the cheap work smarter, not harder, but it's more of like, why are we going to waste our time doing this if it's not going to make us a better football team? Yeah. And so he had a really good understanding of when to do that, how to do that. And so I think he has a really, really long career as a head coach. And I enjoyed LaFleur too. I thought he came from Tennessee, so he was able to kind of to pick some of the things from Vrabel that worked, made it his own. It's going to be interesting to see how he does now that Rodgers is gone, because Rodgers is so talented. There is a little bit of a security blanket, and not in a negative way, but it's a different team now without him. So I'm interested to see how he does now that it's he's got a younger quarterback, he's got a younger team, and see how that evolves.
Quite a few interesting things, and there's obviously going to be a lot of Titans fans listening to this. That are wrestling fans and that are just Titans fans, and probably some Colts fans, and kind of my area. So what I want to know is this: like, your brother is the offensive coordinator now in Tennessee, and we just drafted a quarterback. We thought Malik Willis was going to be the one they were going to replace Tannehill with. Give me some. I'm not asking you to talk forever, just some predictions, because I know you got a little bit of inside scoop, and I know there's shit you really can't say. But what's going to happen, you think, with Malik? Do you think they're going to, because they address the offensive line, and I know they can't go out and get great offensive linemen and superstar wide receivers all in the same draft. Do they look to the XFL? I know they'll look at people who get cut, and there will be those. But do you think they could find a star in the XFL? Maybe.
Yeah, I think at some point. Because I'm trying to think. There's a handful of NFL players now that came from the XFL. Wasn't Heineke an XFL guy? Yes. I think so. So there's a couple of them. I do think. They're just like, do you remember the pass rusher Cam Wake? He ended up playing for the Titans for a year.
Yeah, I remember.
He came from the CFL. Obviously there's the Kurt Warner story. Tommy Maddox, from the original XFL, kind of had a moment in the NFL. So yeah, I think it would be kind of crazy to say that that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because since 2020, there are some guys that, I know a kid that was on year 3 in the NFL and had never played a preseason game.
Uh-huh.
And so there's like they put him in like this weird limbo spot of he has time in the NFL, but he's never actually played a game. So he doesn't have any game film for the league to be able to see. Mm-hmm. So that's where something like the XFL, I think, is going to be beneficial, because it's going to give people, some of these players that have not had a shot for one reason or another, to actually get some game film and let people see how they do against, an elevated competition. Obviously there's college and there's all that, but not everyone in college makes it to the next level, in the same vein that, so you got to assume that some coaches are going to start, some front offices are going to be looking at the XFL to keep an eye out, because there might be someone, I guess an example would be Josh Gordon, the receiver. Obviously he's had his history with the NFL. Right. And this might be a good way for him to kind of show that, he still has it. He might not be that dominant number one force that he was those couple years ago. Right, but I can help a team win. And so, but yeah, I'm sure there's going to be, at some point, there's going to be someone that comes in and for whatever, let's say he got drafted to a team that, already had two great pass rushers, or, even like, 2 good quarterbacks, and, was kind of just caught in the numbers game, goes to the XFL, finally gets a chance to play and gets into a system that works for him, and look out. Like, you look at, in a similar vein, when you look at like Tannehill, he had his time in Miami, and people were kind of ready to shut the book on him, and he gets into a system here in Tennessee that lets him thrive, and it revived his career, and he's done really well with it. So sometimes it's just everyone jokes or says change of scenery might be good. It's not. It's sometimes a system fits a player better, or a coaching style. Like there are so many different dynamics that might lead to a player's success or failure.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, here's one for you. Your biggest win, like it was just the most extravagant win, and then your worst heartbreaking loss, and I'll let you answer those two.
Yeah, well, the heartbreaking loss is going to be the playoff game with the Packers in would have been the 21 season. Just one of those games, like our defense played unreal against. We were playing the Niners. We were in the 1 seed. We had the bye. We scored on the first drive. Kind of drove down the field pretty seamlessly, and then it just from there on out, it just seemed like everyone one play did something that just was not good.
Right.
And we had an awful special teams game. We had a couple a field goal block, a punt block for a touchdown. I think we had at least one kickoff went out. It was the entire special teams unit just wasn't awesome.
As we say in wrestling, it was a clusterfuck.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of saying it. And it was just one of those games where you're just like, because we knew we were the better team. We knew we were the best team. Like, we should have won the Super Bowl that year. Like I, without question, wholeheartedly believe that. Like we beat both teams that were in the Super Bowl. Like it was just one of those things where like, oh my God. So that one's probably going to stick with me forever, because that one really, that was, in my opinion, my legit best shot.
Yeah.
Up to date to get a ring.
You're right.
My biggest win, that one's good. That one's tough because there's so many fun ones. There was the Josh Norman game, the Bills game, where that was through when we went through COVID hell. Yeah. Where we didn't practice for 13 days.
Right.
And then they're like, you're playing on Tuesday. Here you go.
I remember.
just the up and down of, the game's going to be canceled. Nope. The game's going to be canceled. Nope. The game's going to be canceled. Okay. Actually, we're playing on Tuesday. Let's go. They're giving us an hour of practice. Being able to, beating the Texans to win the division in 2020, the way that game ended, where they ended up tying it with like 10 seconds left, and then Tannehill throws a bomb to A.J. Brown and gets us in the field goal position. Yeah. Like, magically finding a way to win that one. Yeah. I've had a very, very fortunate career to be able to say that we've had some really cool wins, having a walk-off touchdown in Baltimore when Derek ran it from about 30 yards in. And then coming back for that, or to get into overtime there. Trying to think of some other good ones.
A big heartbreaker for me was the 2019 game versus the Chiefs, where you actually scored a touchdown in the postseason. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that one. I thought when what's funny, when we were down there, Art Smith, the OC, was on the field, and I always stand behind the ball so I could see the line and kind of see everything better. Yeah. And he's standing there with me, and he goes, "Hey, if Derek doesn't score this play, we're calling your play." And I'm like, "Sweet." But in my head, I'm in Little Giants going, "Pitch to Johnny, not pitch to Johnny. I'm Johnny. Like, don't call this play right now." And so when Derek inevitably doesn't score, I'm like, "Okay, here we go. Don't look like an asshole." And then naturally, I had to do a backward somersault to catch the ball, but. Yeah, it was impressive. That was like the jump pass. He did the little jump pass, wasn't it? Yeah. He it was, I just kind of blocked for a second and kind of was able to kind of slip out. Yeah. The DN like tugged my jersey, and that kind of threw me off balance. So as I'm like stumbling, I'm like, just find the ball and just engulf it. Like, don't leave anything to question. Like, you can like fall on your head if you need to. Just catch the ball. When I scored, it was such a cool moment, and again, like, it put us back up 10 in the conference championship game. I was like, shit, we might pull this one out, and then Mahomes scrambled and tore our hearts out. Unfortunately, he does that. He does that. Like I said, he seems to be everyone's boogeyman. They should call him the Heartbreak Kid. Yeah, that's a good one. No kidding. HBK. Mm-hmm.
So I got a real quick question. From kindergarten until I graduated high school, I was friends with the vice president of player personnel, Ryan Cowden. How well do you know him?
No kidding. Yeah. He, I forget exactly if he was there the whole time that I was there, but I always enjoy my interactions with him. Sometimes front office guys, not that they stay away from players, but there's a little bit of a weird dynamic there because they're the ones that decide if they're going to keep us or not. And so, but he was always really good to me. He was always, I always enjoyed my interactions with them when I was with them.
Yeah, I've known the guy all my life and can't even get a follow on Twitter, man. What's up?
Oh, that's brutal.
I know, right? Well, he knows a different level of people now, I guess. It's okay, but...
Yeah, that's fair.
He was always a good guy, and he was like the stud athlete of the high school, and I just think it's impressive because he played at Wofford, and, he was a safety, and he was our quarterback, but he was just a little short to be that on a different level there. But he played at Wofford, got to know the Panthers general manager, I do believe, got the job with the Panthers. And then I'm living in Nashville at that time, okay? And he's in Charlotte and, couldn't work that ticket angle there. And then when I moved to Charlotte, he moves to Nashville. So like we never got to line it up. But anyway, he's a great dude. I'm happy for his success, but I need that follow on Twitter. Ryan, what's up?
Yeah. Maybe one day you'll get it.
Right, maybe one day. Yeah.
This has been fun, man. We could keep going on this I could keep going for a long time on this. But we don't want to go too long. I appreciate you so much coming on. It's been a very fun conversation. Jimmy, do you have one last quick question you got?
Who's going to win the Super Bowl next year?
I was going to say, I heard of Bruin. I was going to say, hopefully whatever team I sign with.
There you go.
That's my final question. And I'm not even making a question. You're a free agent right now. And I know when we talked at Squared Circle, you told me if you want to play, you can play. It's what your agent told you. So I'll just leave it at, I hope you go somewhere that you want to go, and I hope you make some money, man.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's being able to say I played 11 years in the NFL is awesome. But I still feel good, and still, I still think I can bring some value to a team. So, like I said, if I told you at the convention, like if it makes sense, then we'll do it. But again, I'm not going to jump at anything if I don't have to. So hopefully I can build some leverage for myself that way.
And I do hope you get that ring, man, for sure. You know? Be a great way to cap it off.
That's the one thing that's kind of eluded me. I have a record for being the fattest guy to catch a touchdown pass in a playoff game.
Well, I was going to say largest, not fattest, but
so that seems to be the one thing I haven't gotten yet.
Yeah. Well,
you will, and we're gonna let you off the hook, man. And then Jimmy, me and you got to come back with Ask Wolfie Anything, right?
Ask Wolfie Anything.
All right. Thanks, Dennis, man. Have the great rest of your day, buddy.
Thanks so much for coming on, brother. It's awesome.
You do the same, guys. Thanks. I had a lot of fun.
All right. We'll be right back with a little more Ask Wolfie Anything. DJ, hit the music. All right, we are back with a little bit of that old Ask Wolfie Anything. Wolfie, man, Dennis Kelly, dude, how cool is that guy? I really do hope he wins up with a Super Bowl. And
I want to say that I hope that the people that have never listened before and did listen just to listen to Dennis, keep listening. You might hear something funny here. We have a pretty good fun time doing this Ask Wolfie Anything, man. But just did an awesome favor, man. He's stoked about it. He texted me after he hung up, man, just a minute ago, and he's said, man, that was fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great guy, NFL player. How cool, dude. I'm sorry. We just, man.
Henry, bro.
I know.
Rodgers or protected him. It's just cool, man.
Arguably gave DeMarco Murray his greatest year, too. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Can't forget about that. Well, anyway, we got this Ask Wolfie D Anything. And again, the listeners have been so generous with their questions and thoughts. And again, some of you ask Dale Mann questions. Jamie Brumley, thank you, brother. You really want to hear Dale Mann stories. But so with that being said, today we've got a few great ones. And I'm definitely excited to hear what you say. So the very first one we're going to start with today is Daniel Chad Whitehead on Facebook. And he asked this question. He says, any good or funny chicken hat stories, Wolfie D?
Every time you went to the ring, I guess was a funny chicken hat story. I mean, it's out in the crowd for sure. He was there all the time. I mean, like I never had any interaction with him really outside of the ring, because he wanted to be part of the show and, get on him. You knew to get on him to make something happen. His voice and
come on,
made him hilarious. And we would always mess with him, but I don't have a per se story. He never really did anything to me. I think he's had some near altercations with some of the guys sometimes. He's never really done anything like that to me, but I don't have any. I think didn't something happen to you,
dude? I'm telling you. Yeah, I've told you this before. This is funny. So I worked some in Virginia. And this is like 08, 09. And I'd worked some in North Carolina. Not a lot, but some. And I'd kind of gone through the paces of learning how to take a flat back bump and learning how to take a punch. Not throw a punch. I would never believe that I should throw a punch. But I should be able to take one and make it look like I knew what I was doing. So That being said, that is the furthest elements of my training. Now, also my mentor kind of believed that it looked better if I didn't know what I was doing, because I was never going to do anything to to need that. So that being said, 2010, 2011, I'm living in Nashville. I'm working at the Great Escape out in West Nashville on Charlotte Pike. And then Aaron Camaro would come in, Tony Falk would come in, Hot Rod Biggs, Luke from the Bushwhackers, Joe Cephas would come in all the time. Well, Aaron Camaro came in and we started talking about wrestling because I'd seen him announce at Saw. And I said, hey, man, you do some stuff in wrestling, as if you see Aaron Camaro and think he doesn't do something in something. He just walks around 24/7 looking like he's doing something in wrestling. And he said, or in music, exactly. He's great at that. I definitely go recommend the Decibel Geek podcast, by the way, if you love rock and roll. And so Aaron, he says, yeah, man, I think we can do something with you. Come to this place in East Nashville, Gallatin Pike. Mike Porter's running a show. Can't really pay you anything, but we can do something. So I show up there and I tell him my gimmick, and he's like, I love it. Let's do it. And so I show up and he's like, okay, so tonight what we're going to do is we're going to sit you in the crowd and you're going to watch a few matches like you're kind of scouting, or like you're just literally enjoying the show, but you're going to be in full Sheik gimmick, okay? And I'm sitting there, and he sits me directly beside Chicken Hat, and everybody cracks up. I mean, everybody. And I'm like, what's so funny?
I mean, did he seat you there way after a lot of the people were in? I mean,
yes.
Oh, so you was it obvious you were a plant then?
I personally probably think so, Wolfie.
Okay,
honestly,
I'm just trying to get the feel. Go ahead.
Yeah, but what was funny is there was a lady, I think her name was Kay, and she sat there in that seat to hold it for me. Yeah. And I can't remember exactly.
But she held the seat, right?
She held the seat for me, and then she got up, and when she got up to go get some drinks or whatever, she just never came back. Right. And I sat down in that seat, and Chicken Hat's like, why is this guy? And I start asking him questions, and I'm doing so tell me, brother, my horrible Iron Sheik impersonation. And
but he was buying it, wasn't he?
He was totally buying it. He was like, yes, we don't like him, or we love him, or whatever. And I'm like, well, I probably wouldn't like him if you love him. And anyway. And I didn't realize, because, first of all, Chicken Hat don't play. I didn't realize how close I came to an absolute maniac. You know what I mean? Because he loved him some wrestling, and dude would dance like no one was watching. You know what I'm saying? Especially when the music came on. Yeah. He loved his baby faces. Yeah. I would walk down to the ring, and sometimes I would have the microphone at Saw, and I would be like, first of all, you people shut up. Oh, shut up yourself. He would just, and dude, the thing is he wasn't just at these little bitty shows, and he was at WWE. He was at TNA religiously, and he consistently was around. He loved wrestling, and God bless him. I hope he's doing okay today. I haven't heard anything else.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. I wonder if that guy's still alive or not.
Yeah. Kroll kind of had a connection with him, but I don't know anybody else that really had a connection as far as getting him to the shows and stuff. But man, I do hope he's doing well. But anyway, I didn't realize I was sitting next to a madman.
Right. They ribbed you.
They did. It was a total rib. Yeah. So anyway, other than that, I'm sure you've seen some wild stuff. He could definitely get heated with the heels. I know that. So yeah. Well, that.
Scared of me. I did my job well, and he didn't fuck with me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, well, there's a different level. Come on, I mean, let's just be honest here. So it's why it's the Wolfie D show and not the Jimmy Street show.
The
Sheiky Omar Alcazan show. Anyway, I just had Hot Rod Biggs on the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast, and we discussed the entire time of how real people, the difference in the Sheik gimmick and Jimmy Street. So it's a good show. Y'all should check it out sometime. Anyway.
Yeah, Rod's a good guy.
Yeah, Rod's really cool. Well, I think that's it for the chicken hat stories, but the next question we've got is from two guys. So Dave Martin on Facebook and Tim Fox, aka Strongman Storytelling on Instagram, both want to hear some Buddy Landell stories, man.
Buddy Landell. Well,
it's like they work together almost, you know?
Buddy was a character. My favorite thing about Buddy, the thing that is, if anybody says his name, the first thing that comes to my mind is it's not because, I mean, I'm sure we traveled some and did things we shouldn't have been doing together, party wise, you know, that type of thing. But again, you know, we don't try to romance all that. But, just the first thing that comes to mind is, I think it was it was the first time I ever worked him. And he was, you know, it was during the Smoky Mountain feud. So things were hot and heavy and whatnot. And, you know, it wasn't just a TV, let's have a regular wrestling match. It was a brawling match and blah, blah, blah. But I grab him and I get up on that second rope and I go to grab him by the back of the hair. And he had it slicked back in that little ponytail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, he's hollering, "Watch the hair, brother! Watch the hair!" I mean, that was all he was concerned about, not whether I fucking punched him in his eyeball or anything. He just didn't want his hair fucked up. And every time we would wrestle, he would holler, "Watch the hair, brother! Watch the hair!"
Yeah.
Man, buddy, I ain't gonna fuck your hair up, man. I think I might have one time just to rib him, but did the fucking thing where you messed their hair up, like he didn't want me to, and I did.
Yeah.
I think I might. Him a couple times.
I mean, he did have a beautiful coif of hair for sure. He did have a beautiful coif of hair for sure.
Yeah, but this wasn't the years when he had the Ric Flair do or whatever. This is when he was there. They're not about 95, 96.
Yeah,
slick it back hard and had a very small ponytail on it.
Yeah,
not super small, but pretty small.
Right.
He didn't want that thing coming loose. I know that. Whatever. Like after.
So how was he in the ring? I mean, would you say he's one of the best that you wrestled?
Oh, Buddy's good, but you know, in those days, just to be fair, and I've been guilty of it, but that was his time when he didn't work as hard as Buddy could have worked.
Sure.
But I mean, he did everything we needed to do, and it was those, weapons involved and shit like that. He was down. We did some fun stuff and got to know Buddy, and hell, he's a hell of a guy, man. Funny dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I got a great story. I told it back on another episode, so we won't go into that. But basically, he was heated, and I got into the locker room. Should have never been there, but the guy that owned the gymnasium, his son was my buddy, and he's like, "You want to go in the locker room?" And I'm like, "There's guys back there right now." Anyway, I've told the story in a past episode, but I unfortunately got to see Buddy in nothing but a tank top, and when I opened the door, he said he went from chewing somebody out to saying, "Hey boys, how y'all doing? We're gonna go ahead and get dressed. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you out to tables." And then as soon as the door shut, he's like chewing somebody out again. It was just like so perfect because he's like, blah 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 blah. "Hey boys, how y'all doing? Good to see y'all. Gonna see you at the tables. Okay, let us get on dressed here." And the door shuts, and he's like, blah blah blah. It was just like almost like a record he scratched. It was awesome.
When Derek was on, we told the story of me being all jacked up and yelling at Buddy while he's trying to make a speech about drugs to the kids, and I'm over there yelling, "He's blind to y'all. He's fucked up."
So funny, dude. Man. I can just envision. Could he hear you? You think?
Yes, he could fucking hear me.
So it was super.
I don't really remember what happened as far as like he didn't come cuss me out or want to fight or nothing, but he was mad at me.
Oh, so that was super loud then.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Like I was having to yell too hard.
Right.
He wasn't like that far away from me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I'm yelling it to the crowd really, but I am but I'm directing at him, and I don't have to say it that loud for him to hear it.
Yeah.
So the other few that might have heard it. I don't know. You have to ask Derek how loud I did. Maybe everyone in the fucking town heard it. I don't know.
I love it. Okay, well that's funny. So, all right. Well, our next and final one on this epic Dennis Kelly NFL player episode is, so this is from UPW Pro on Twitter. So they say funny stories of little Danny. So this guy, he says he has one about a rib that Gypsy Joe pulled on him in Bowling Green locker room, but unfortunately he didn't share the rib. I guess it may be too detailed to put in a Twitter post. But anyway, do you have any funny stories about little Danny?
Some are not appropriate.
Sure.
Man, it's like, okay, let me pick one here. The big one I've told before, but I bet there's a lot of people listening to this that haven't heard it. A pretty quick one that's kind of funny that I'm pretty sure I've told before. Little raunchy, but we went out and it was me and Jamie, and I can't remember where we were. Anyway, come home and or come to the hotel room, which you would call home a lot, and I'm hammered and pass out into bed and whatnot. And the way that I woke up was I was sitting on the edge of the bed, naked, and I was, facing the other bed and sitting on that bed, staring straight at my face as I came to life in the sitting position is Danny. And he talked with that lisp. Yeah, Wolfie. And he's trying to wake me up. Wolfie, you're pissing, Wolfie. And sure enough, when I came to, like I said, I see this little midget yelling at me and saying, Wolfie, you're pissing. And I was sitting on the edge of the bed, just like a water fountain. It was going straight up in the air, nice arch, nice height too, I would say. And straight down to the floor, man, in between the two beds.
Like a fountain.
Yeah, like a fountain. With some pretty good pressure, and, nice height on the arch, everything, and a midget yelling at me. So I guarantee there's not a whole lot of people that can say that they have been awakened by a little person. We called him Midget D, damn it, awakened by a midget, hissing like a water fountain. That's
amazing. Oh my God, that's so funny.
The other one that I said I told before is we would take him to bars, and it didn't take a lot to get him hammered, obviously. And we were in Memphis. Me, Jeff, Jarrett, Jamie. Don't remember if anybody else was with us. But Danny had this thing about, man, if you get jacked up, he'd always get his feelings hurt or something, or he'd run off and hide. We'd find him under the steps at the hotel room, and it's weird, man. So he would get away from us. We literally had to keep our eyes on him 24 hours a day. So we go to this bar, and, Memphis is a predominantly African-American town. And
sure.
Those were a lot of PG-13's fans, and we love you. And so this bar, there was a group. And see, Danny would get drunk, first of all, and then he would get up on the bar and walk down the bar like he was a Coyote Ugly about to dance or something. Like he's imitating the Coyote Ugly girls.
Sure.
So he'd get up there, man. He always, because he was a little person, little midget, he got a lot of attention and made people laugh. He knew it. So then a little bit later, we can't find him. Oh, shit. So we go looking, and we see a group, probably about 15, 20 black folks over there, and they're gathered in a circle. And Danny was sitting there cussing them out, saying some things that he should not have been saying, some racial stuff. But the funniest part about it was nobody was mad. They were still laughing at him because they thought it was funny that a little midget was sitting there cussing them out and calling them names. I don't know how that didn't go bad, but they were laughing at it. But me and Jamie came in, hey, y'all, what's up? Come on, Danny, let's go. And pull him out of there, man. And so by the end of the night, he was hammered, and there was this big chair that was at the front door. That like when you came in, it was like decoration, just a old Victorian style chair, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so we set him in that chair. Well, his feet don't go past the pillow, so his little feet, he looks like a little doll sitting up there, a little stuffed animal or some shit. And so the bar closes, and everybody's leaving. Of course, me and Jamie, thinking we're special, we stay after, and Jeff is with us, and we keep drinking. And as the people, the normies,
yeah,
were leaving. Man, they started throwing like quarters on him and dollars and shit like that, right? They're walking out, he's just passed out in this chair. So at the end of the night, we like had a tip. I don't remember what we did with it, but we had a tip. We didn't give it to him. So me and Jeff are trying to get him out of there.
Yeah.
And so for those of you that have never picked up a little person, it's like picking up a fire hydrant.
I imagine there's quite a few, actually.
Like one of those strongman balls that they have to pick up and go set on those things.
Sure.
Strongman contest. So anyway, Jeff, I forget who grabs what. One of us grabs his legs, one of us grabs his arms, and we're walking out the door to the car, boom, boom, boom. And about halfway there, Jeff goes, I think it'd be easier if I just carry him. And, me and Jeff both real buzzed up too. So we go 1, 2, 3, and Jeff's going to lift him up and throw him like over his shoulder where his feet are dangling by his chest and his head is over Jeff's back.
Sure. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. We put him up there, and and keep in mind, he's passed the fuck out. We throw him up there, and when his stomach hits Jeff's shoulders and his big old little person midget butt is like kind of right next to Jeff's face, and that pressure of his stomach hitting his shoulder made him fart. And so he farts, and me and Jeff fucking explode laughing, man. We are dying. And Jeff's kind of stumbling and drops him. Boom! Right on his back. His head slams the concrete. Well, out through all that, but when his head hit the concrete, that son bitch woke up and had his little hands up on his forehead going, oh. And he was just rolling around going, oh. So we're dying, man. But we got him in the car, and everybody, we got home to the hotel. But yeah. He was a funny little dude, man.
That's so funny. That is so
awkward.
Yeah. Well, rest in peace, little Danny. God bless you, buddy.
I had never seen it, but Jamie said that he liked big girls. Like just regular, not little person big, but like normal size big girls, right?
Okay.
Jack said that he had seen him have sex with them. And he said that they'd have to get on top of him. He said, and all you could see it was his head, his hands, and his feet. That's all you could see sticking out from under all that.
Oh my God! I'm gonna cry. Oh my God! I can just see it like little mashed in the little fellow.
But like and doing like spirit hands and spirit feet at the same time, like when he's ready to blow. You know what I mean?
Have you ever seen like a cartoon where like an elephant steps on something?
Yeah.
I could just see like the hands and feet sticking out, like expanded as far as they'll go.
She gets off, and then the rest of it is flat.
Yes. Oh my God.
Man, it's been a fun show, man. Absolutely. You got more questions, Jay? I think that's a good one to end it with.
Yeah, that's the perfect one to end with. Absolutely. So,
and again, as always, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Not turning in. Ain't time to turn in. Well, maybe it is. I don't know what time you're listening. But,
sure.
Could be time to turn in, but for us to turn off. So we're going to get out of here.
Go follow that YouTube, subscribe, like, share, rate, and review. Do us a favor. Buy a T-shirt.
Takes you a freaking second, and it don't even hurt. Promise.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. And it's not like we get in the way too much. I mean, come on,
So, anyway, guys, man, this has been fun for me. I hope it was fun for you. I know it's fun for Jimmy. And I hope next week we have some more fun for you on Live and in Color with Wolfie D. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, buddy.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Chic, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all, and all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
That's right, it's the Talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
Hey everyone, this is Shane from Insane Shane's World. I release wrestling figures of enhancement talent, mid-card wrestlers, and wrestlers that you never thought would have a figure available. So if you're interested in adding a really cool and rare figure to your collection, then don't hesitate to contact me at shamtheman73@gmail.com. That's SHAMtheman73@gmail.com. You can also join my Facebook group. Just search Insane Shane's World.
Mister, this is Handsome Jimmy, professional wrestler, the Boogie Woogie Man. Come on, people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss this one. It's Wrestling Talk with Mayor McCall. Yes, baby, be there or be square. Oh, yeah, ha, 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 ha.
If you're a fan of rock music, I'd really appreciate it if you took a moment to check out my podcast. It's called the Decibel Geek Podcast. We've been doing it for about 10 years now. We talk about Kiss. We talk about Ozzy. We talk about Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses and Metallica. We talk about all the legends from the 60s and on, up to brand new bands that you should be hearing about today that you're not going to hear on the radio. It's Decibel Geek. Wherever you find your podcasts, you'll find us there. If you love rock and roll, I can almost guarantee you're going to love my show.
If you're a pro wrestling fan, there's something for everyone at the Cheap Heat TV Podcast Network. From the Pro Wrestling Discussion Show, Cheap Heat TV Live, to the interview show, the Jackson Interaction Podcast with the king of all wrestling media, Gene Jackson, to the silliness of the Whitey Jenkins Show, and the brand new Zip, Xander's Irresistible Podcast with Charles Anders. You can check them all out and much more over at cheapheattvlive.com.
So that was another great episode. Hey, Wolfie, tell them where they can find you on social media.
Jimmy, they can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. I'm just kidding. They can find me on Facebook. My personal page is Warren Wolf, WOLFE. I'm on Instagram at WarrenWolf13.
You can always find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Wolfie D. Here's the thing. Wolfie always has offers for his autographed photos. He has a selection of some awesome photos from throughout his career that he will autograph and personalize any way that you want him to. Just contact him either directly at his personal Facebook page or through any one of our other pages, and we'll make sure you get in contact directly with Wolfie. Get those photos, right, Wolfie?
Yeah, I've got some good stuff on there, to help with the podcast.
Folks, if you can't get out to a show to meet Wolfie D, there's nothing like that, especially for the fans of PG-13 and Wolfie D. And before we go, you can always find me, your host, Jimmy Street, at James Rock Street on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
And hey, Jimmy, before we go real quick, I just want to add in there,
there. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate, first of all, the work you've done for this podcast. You have worked your butt off. Secondly, the people that are liking the page. Beyond that, even more, is the people that are listening, and we really appreciate that. Yeah, and remember, guys, the podcast drops a new episode every Monday at noon, and our past episodes are streaming now on demand on all major podcast formats. Thanks again.
I got a cap for your dome.
He got a cap for your dome.
I got a cap for your dome.
He got a cap for your dome.
He got a cap
He got a cap for your dome.
And here we go. The original white boy that came out sagging, not bragging, don't be hating, cause I'm spitting the truth. Still livin' in color, plum rush your mother, utilize a hubcap unlike any other. Back in the day, I was N-O-D, and I was P to the G, plus the 1 and the 3. In case you forgot, they call me Wolfie D. Been cloned and copied so many times, tired of suckers taking credit for what is mine. You know who you are without me name dropping. Wrestling's first white boy coming out hip hop. Been doing it like this since 92. Laid low for a while and you thought I was through. Listen real close to these rhymes that I've injected. This shit's so sick it makes your ears get infected. Mad skills, no faking, there is no one great. Cause I'm bringing more folks than Obi-Wan or Vader. Not here to play games, so you better beware. You don't like me, so what? I really don't care. Like time I keep ticking and I can't be stopped. You sucker step to the side unless you wanna get dropped. With my finish, I'll straight knock you out. Please allow me to tell you what it's all about. I'm gonna wind it up, then I'm driving it home. It's Wolfie D, baby. Huh. I got a cap for your dome. I got a cap for your dome.
He got a cap for your dome. He got a cap for your dome.
This has been a James Rock Street production.